11.2 Innate Immunity. The immune system consists of a number of different types of cells and tissues, all of which are involved in defending the body against infection, against toxin, or even abnormal cells and cancer cells. Immunity is the body's ability to kill or remove foreign substances. We can divide immunity into innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is things that we are born with. It does not require previous exposure to any specific pathogen. Acquired immunity, however, is only activated by exposure to some specific pathogen. In this unit, we will be looking at several types of innate immunity, including barriers to entry, inflammation, natural killer cells and phagocytes, complement, and interferon. Again, these are all types of innate immunity that do not require previous exposure. In the next segment, we will look at acquired immunity. B-cell immunity is involved with antibodies, and T cells function in what is called cell-mediated immunity. Barriers to entry. Our first barrier to entry is simply the skin. We looked at the structure of the integumentary system in an earlier lesson. It is layers of densely packed squamous epithelial cells. It is waterproofed, and so many times we can simply prevent pathogens from gaining entry. Oil secretions are also antimicrobial. The oil secreted on our skin can prevent some types of microbes from growing. Also, the mucous membranes, the linings of the respiratory system, the digestive system, and the urinary system also create a barrier to entry against pathogens. Inflammation is an innate response. This is a vascular response to tissue injury or infection. It begins with release of something called histamine. Histamine causes capillaries to dilate. It increases localized blood flow and causes fluid and some types of white blood cells to actually leave the blood vessels, the capillaries, and enter into tissue. The 4 signs of inflammation, redness, swelling, fever, and pain, are all due to this increased blood flow and increased leakiness of capillaries. Here's a diagram that illustrates the inflammation response. When certain cells are damaged, they release histamine, and histamine causes those capillaries to swell, they dilate, and this allows more fluid to leak out into surrounding tissue. Inside that fluid, we have different types of white blood cells that can respond by cleaning up debris from damaged tissue or phagocyzing pathogens that might have entered the wound site. Natural killer cells are assassins. These are cells that will kill any cell that is lacking specific self-recognition molecules. These are called major histocompatibility complexes. These complexes are what allows our immune cells to recognize our own cells. And so these natural killer cells will kill anything they come in contact with that does not have these certain types of self-identifying molecules. This includes some virus-infected cells will be lacking these. Also, sometimes cancer cells can be missing these self-identification molecules, and natural killer cells can destroy them. There are some protective proteins that are included in innate immunity. One of these is called complement. This is a whole series of blood plasma proteins, and these become activated during an infection. This is usually following the release of an antibody. We'll look at antibodies in the next unit. But when complement is activated, it creates something called a membrane attack complex, and this punches holes in bacteria. Places a hole through the cell wall, through the plasma membrane, disrupts the osmotic balance of the bacteria, and will destroy the bacteria.